Hello friends, now in this lecture we'll revise some of the chapters of geometry. So we'll start from the lines and angles. Okay, so we'll see very basic concepts of lines and angles. So here we'll start with type of angles. Okay, type of angles. Or before that, when we'll see simple things. What is line, segment, and ray. Okay, so basics we will see, that is line segment, ray, angle, and then we'll come to the type of angle. So this is a line which can be extended on both sides. Okay, generally line AB is denoted by line AB in this way. Also small letters like L, M, N, etc. can be used to represent a line. Now part of a line having two endpoints is called a line segment. So this is the way to represent line segment AB. Okay, then part of a line segment having one endpoint is called ray. So this is the way to represent ray AB. Okay, now the union of two union of two rays having a common endpoint is called an angle. Here this angle BAC. This is written as angle BAC, or I can write angle CAB, or I can write angle CAB, or also I can write angle A. Until and unless there is no confusion, we can represent an angle by its vertex. Okay, this is the vertex of angle, and these two are the arms of the angle. Now suppose there is one more ray AD, then angle BAC and CAB cannot be written as angle A, because at point A there are three angles. One is BAC, another one is CAD, and another one is BAD. So if there are more than one angle at one vertex, then single letter representation of angle is not gives you the perfect identification that which angle we are talking about. So if there are more than one angles at one point, do write the complete name of the angles. Now after this we'll see the classification of the angles, types of angles. Okay, so very first is, we'll say acute angle. Okay, an angle whose measure is greater than 0 degree, okay, and less than 90 degrees is called acute angle. In this way we can say acute angle can be represented. Okay, acute angle. Then right angle. Right angle. After acute angle, next is right angle. An angle, here I am representing this angle by theta. So angle or theta should be greater than 0, less than 90. Now right angle, that is theta, is exactly 90 degree. This is right angle. A, B, C. This is the right angle. Now next is obtuse angle. Obtuse angle, an angle whose measure is greater than 90, greater than 90, angle must be greater than 90 and less than 180 degree, is called obtuse angle. In this way we can represent obtuse angle. Okay, here this angle ABC is an obtuse angle. This is theta. Okay, here again I can say this is theta. So angle whose measure is greater than 90 and less than 180 degrees obtuse angle. Then next is straight angle. Straight angle, that is angle whose measure is greater than 180, exactly equal to 180 degree. Not greater than, exactly equal to, theta is equal to 180 degree. Okay, in this way I can represent straight angle A B C. This is the straight angle ABC equal to theta is equal to 180 degree. Now straight angle, then we'll come to the reflex angle. Fifth one is the reflex angle. Now reflex angle, that is angle whose measure is greater than 180 and less than 360 degree is called reflex angle. For example, this is the reflex angle A B C. So this angle is called the reflex angle. It is greater than 180 and less than 360 degree. Now after reflex angle, next we'll see the uh, complete angle. Fifth one is the complete angle. Sorry, sixth one is the complete angle. Complete angle, that means angle whose measure is 360 degree. In this way I can say this is the first ray and the second ray is also coincide with this. That means it starts from this and come to the same place. So this is 360 degree, that is called complete angle. Now there is one more angle. Okay, so these are the type of angles. Okay, after this we'll come to the pair of angles, that is supplementary angles, complementary angles and adjacent angles. So next is complementary angles. So two angles whose sum is 90 degree are called complementary angles. Okay, after that pair of angles. So pair of angles. Okay, in this very first one is adjacent angle. Adjacent angles. What are adjacent angles? Adjacent angles, there are three conditions by which we can say two angles are adjacent angles. So let me draw one of the adjacent angle. Okay, let these are the angles A, AB, BAC, CAD. Now these two angles are adjacent angles, or two angles are called adjacent angles. Okay, two angles are called adjacent angles if, now there are three conditions. First, first of all, those two angles must have a common source. If the angles have, if if they have, if they have a common vertex. Okay, if we talk about here this angle BAC, let A, and this BAC and CAD. So yes, they have a common vertex A. Okay, then they have a common arm. Next thing, they must have a common arm. If they have a common arm, yes, they have a common arm AC. In angle BAC and DAC, common arm is AC. And third condition, their non-common arms must be, if their non-common, if their non-common arms are in opposite direction of common arm. Okay, They are non-common arms, that is AB and AD. They must be on opposite side or opposite direction of the common arm. Better to write opposite side rather than opposite direction. Opposite side of the common arm. That means here AC is on the above AB, AB is above AC and AD is below AC. That means non-commons are in opposite directions or opposite side. So here we can say these two angles are adjacent angles. Now, after adjacent angles, the first thing we'll see is complementary angles, then supplementary angles. Okay, so after adjacent angles, next is complementary angles. Next one is complementary angles. Two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Simple. Two angles, or I should write two adjacent angles, two angles, sum of whose measures is 90 degree are called complementary angles. Are called complementary angles. Okay. For example, if I draw a diagram in this way, okay. So if angle ABD and angle DBC, that means sum of this and this is 90, then I will say these two angles are complementary angles. So here I can say if x plus y is equal to 1 is equal to 90, then 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 x and y are called complementary angles. Okay, are called complementary angles. Or we can say x and y are called the complement of each other. Or x and y are called complement of each other. Are called complement of each other. Okay, then x and y are called complement of each other. Now, after complementary angles, next is supplementary angles. So, two angles, sum of whose measure is 180 degree, are called supplementary angles. Okay, so here I say if x and y is equal to 180. Okay, let this angle is A, point is B, C. So x plus y. If x plus y is equal to 180, we'll say x and y are called supplementary angles. Or x and y are called supplement of each other. If the sum of two angles is 180 degree, they are called supplementary angles or the supplement of each other. Okay, so this is all about the uh, supplementary angles, complementary angles, or in other words, we can say this is all about the pair of angles. Now, next we will see parallel lines, or before that, we'll see linear pair axiom. Linear pair axiom. Now, what linear pair axiom is? If sum of two adjacent angles is 180 degree, if the sum of two adjacent, see, linear pair axiom is we can say combination of two axioms, and both these two axioms are, we should say, converse of each other. Here, this linear pair axiom can be defined in, in such a way that if ABC is a line, if ABC is a line, then angle A plus angle B equal to 180 degree. Okay. If ABC is a line or AC is a line, AC is a line, then x plus y equal to 180 degree. Or if x plus y equal to 180 degree, then AC is a line. That means if there is a straight line and a ray stands on that, then sum of the angle is 180 degree. And if the sum of two adjacent angle is 180 degree, then non-common arms form a line, or non-common arms are opposite rays. So that is the linear pair axiom. It is very, very, very useful. We'll use this throughout this geometry portion. Okay. Now, vertically opposite angles. Next is vertically opposite angles. So, if there are two straight lines intersecting each other, if there are two straight lines intersecting each other at a point, let the AB and CD intersect each other at O, then angle opposite to the vertex are equal to each other. That means here angle AOD is equal to angle BOC, and angles AOC is equal to angle BOD. Okay, these are called the vertically opposite angles, and they are equal to each other. So this is all about the types of angles and pair of adjacent angles. Now next we will see angles made by a transversal. Okay, angles made by a transversal. So first of all, transversal is a line that intersects okay, transversal is a line uh, transversal is a line which intersects two or more line at two distinct points. Okay, so transversal is a line which intersects two or more lines at two distinct points. Okay, suppose we have a line AB and we have a line CD. Now this line L is called the transversal for AB and CD because this L intersects AB and CD at the distinct points. Okay, here let it intersects at Z, and over here let it be Q. Okay, now when a transversal intersects two lines, it makes four angles with this. Okay, sorry, eight angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight angles. Now these eight angles are categorized as follow. Let me name the angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So angles formed by a transversal with two lines are as follows. The first is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. Okay, what are the corresponding angles? See, you have to remember the position of the angles, not the name, because it is not necessary that always you get 1, 2, 3, 4 in this order. It is also possible that even though you won't get 1, 2, 3, so you have to remember the positions of the angle. So this angle and this angle. Over here I can say angle 1 and angle 5 are the corresponding angle. Similarly 4 and 8, angle 4 and angle 8, then angle 2 and angle 6. Okay, with 1 here I should write 5. Then angle 2 and angle 6, and then finally angle 3 and angle 7. So these are the pairs of the corresponding angles. Now next is alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. So its name itself says it is alternate as well as interior. So these are the interior angles, and alternate means if we take one angle from the left hand side, another angle we should take from the right hand side of the transversal. So alternate interior, as I'm saying interior angle, that means 1287 won't be there. Only angles uh, involved are 4, 3, 5, 6. So alternate, if I take angle 4, then its alternate is angle 6, and angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 3 and angle 5. Now similarly, as we have alternate, we have we have alternate interior, we have alternate exterior. Alternate exterior angles. Okay, alternate exterior angles. So for this 1 and 7 will be there, angle 1 and angle 7, and angle 2 and angle 8. Okay, so alternate interior, alternate exterior. Now next, after this, we'll come to the allied angles or co-interior angles or co-consecutive angles. So here I am writing co-interior angles. Co-interior angles. So co-interior angles, that means angles on the same side of the transversal, as well as interior, that means interior angles on the same side of the transversal. So 4 and 5, angle 4 and angle 5, and angle 3 and angle 6, and angle 3 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 6. Okay, so these are the co-interior angles, angle 3 and angle 6, 4 and angle 5. Okay, now here we saw angles made by a transversal. Now if these two lines AB and CD are parallel, then these angles have some relation. So next we'll see properties of angles made by a transversal with parallel lines. Okay. Next is properties of angles made by a transversal with parallel lines. By a transversal with parallel lines. Okay, so corresponding angles are equal. If the lines are parallel, then corresponding angles are equal. Okay. If I say AB and CD are parallel, and this is a transversal T or L, whatever say, one, 5, 4, 8, 2, 6, 3, 7. Okay, so these corresponding angles are equal. That means instead of equal, I can do this. Okay, that means corresponding angles made by a transversal with parallel lines are equal. Similarly, alternate interior angles made by a transversal with parallel lines are equal. Similarly, alternate exterior angles made by a transversal with parallel lines are equal. Now, co-interior angles, definitely there is a little bit different rule. We won't say co-interior angles made by a transversal are equal, they are supplementary. That means angle 1, sorry, angle 3 plus angle 5 is equal to 180, and angle 4 plus angle 6. Angle 4 plus angle 6 is equal to 180. Okay, 3 plus 5 180, 4 plus 6 180. Co-interior angles made by a transversal with parallel lines. So these are the relation between the corresponding angles, alternate exterior angles, and the co-interior angles. Okay, now next we will see the uh, angle sum property and the exterior angle property of a triangle. Okay, after this, angle sum property and the exterior angle property of a triangle. Okay, exterior angle property, and first angle sum property of the triangle. Angle sum property of triangle, that is sum of all the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degree. Okay, that is sum of all interior angles of a triangle is 180 degree. Okay, that means if we have a triangle ABC, if we have a triangle ABC, then angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180 degree. That is the angle sum property of the triangle. Now, next is, after the angle sum property of triangle, next we will see exterior angle property of the triangle. Exterior angle property of triangle. Now, before I come to the exterior angle property, two things we have to understand: what is the exterior angle, okay, and what is the interior angle. Suppose we have a triangle PQR or whatever, PQZ. Okay, so if I increase or produce any side of the triangle, either I produce QZ or ZQ or PQ or QP, PZ or ZP, whatever. So exterior angle is the angle between the one of the side of the triangle and one of the produced side of the triangle. So this is called the exterior angle. Okay. Now at every point of the triangle there are two exterior angles. Here I have PZX for a while, and if I produce this, then this will be an exterior angle, isn't it? Here I can say this PZ is produced, okay, and this in that case will be the exterior angle between one of the side of the triangle and one side produced. So here we are talking about only one angle. So this is the exterior angle at point Z. Now with respect to point Z, if we talk about the internal angle, then angle P and Q we can say are little bit far from the uh, uh, this point Z. Okay, there are three interior angles. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the second one. Among these three, two I can say these are the little angles which are opposite to the point Z, as well as interior to the interior with respect to point Z, as well as we can say they are little bit away from the point Z. Okay, now what exterior angle property says, that exterior angle of a triangle is equal to sum of its remote interior angles. That means angles which are little bit away from the point Z. Remote interior angles, or we can say opposite interior angles. So exterior angle property of triangle says exterior angle of a triangle, exterior angle of a triangle, exterior angle of a triangle is equal to sum of its opposite interior angles. Exterior angle of a triangle is equal to sum of its opposite interior angles. So here I can say angle PZX is equal to angle P plus angle Q. That is the exterior angle property of the triangle. Okay, that is the exterior angle property of the triangle. This also, from this property we have also conclude one thing more, that is exterior angle is always greater than its each of interior opposite angle. Okay. Exterior angle of a triangle is greater than its each of opposite interior angle. Opposite interior angle. That means I can say angle PZX is greater than angle P and angle PZX is greater than angle Q. Okay, so that is the exterior angle of the triangle property. Okay, so next we will see okay, so that is all about lines and angles. Now next we will see is next chapter is quadrilaterals. So next we'll start quadrilaterals. We'll see the basic concept of the quadrilaterals, type of quadrilaterals, its properties, and then we'll come to the next chapter. So next we'll see quadrilaterals. Sorry, after this we'll see after lines and angles. Now next we'll see the triangles. After triangles we'll come to the quadrilaterals. So triangles. In triangles we have to basically cover the uh, congruency criteria. So think, revise, remind those criteria, how many criteria were there. Then we'll continue this. Okay, so triangles. So basically, first we'll see the type of triangles. Okay, if you know the type of angle, then it is easy to understand the types of triangles as well. So types of triangles we'll see. Triangle, I hope you know that is the closed figure made up of three lines. Okay, now types of triangles. Types of triangle. First is I can say uh, acute angle triangle. Acute angle triangle. So a triangle whose all three angles are acute. Okay. Acute angle triangle. All three angles are acute. Okay, what is acute? That we saw in the same lecture. Okay, that means angle whose measure is less than 90 degree, greater than 0 degree. That is acute angle triangle. Second is right angle triangle. Right angle triangle. That means angle triangle whose one angle is 90 degree. One angle is 90 degree. This right angle triangle. Third one is obtuse angle triangle. Obtuse angle triangle. Now, obtuse angle triangle whose, see, you people are defining like this. If for here all three angles are acute, so you people say all angles are obtuse, which is not possible. So here one angle is obtuse. One angle is obtuse, or one angle is having measure greater than 90. So these are the three types of triangle we'll say based on measurement. Now based on sides, so we can say I'm here defining in the sequence only. Next is equilateral triangle. Okay. Or first is scalene triangle. Okay. Scalene triangle. A triangle whose all three sides have different measure. All three sides have different measure. Different measure. Okay. Then next is isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. Two of sides have same measure. Two sides have same measure. That means two sides must be of the same length. Two sides have same measure. That is isosceles triangle. Now next is equilateral triangle. Next is equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle, all three sides have same measure. All three sides have same measure. Okay, all three sides have same measure is called equilateral triangle. Now one more, we'll say seventh one, isosceles right triangle. Isosceles right triangle. Isosceles right triangle. That is, two sides have same measurement and one angle is 90 degrees. Okay. Two sides have same measure, and one angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so two sides have same measurement. It looks something like this. Two sides have same measure. So these two will be same and this angle will be 90 degrees. So this is an isosceles right triangle. Now, so that is all about the types of triangle. Okay, now next we will see there are some points in the triangle, or before that, see, whatever is the equilateral triangle, that is also equiangular triangle. That means in a triangle, if all three sides are equal, that means all angles are also equal. Okay, so next we can you can write a note or a point. Equilateral triangle is also an equiangular triangle. Equilateral triangle is also equiangular triangle. Okay, equilateral triangle is also equiangular triangle. Now there are some theorems. So first theorem we can say, in a triangle, if two sides are equal, then opposite angles are also equal. Okay, in a triangle, if two sides are equal, then opposite angles are also equal. In a triangle, if two sides are equal, then opposite angles are also equal. Next is converse of it. That means in a triangle, if two angles are equal, then opposite sides are also equal. Okay, in a triangle, if two sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, and if the two angles are equal, then opposite sides are also equal. Okay, so these are the two theorems. Now we'll see some of the terminology related to the points. Okay, then we come to the congruency criteria. So next is important points. Okay, so first thing before I come to the this two things you must know: concurrent. Okay, concurrent means if three or more than three lines meet at the same point the lines are said to be concurrent. Okay, if three or more lines meet at same point, lines are said to be said to be concurrent. If three or more lines meet at same point, lines are said to be concurrent. Now we'll see the points. Okay, the very first point is, or very first definition is median. Okay, what is median? What we'll see median. Median, we can say median is a line segment which joins the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite side. So line segment joining joining the vertex of the triangle and the midpoint of the opposite side. Okay, suppose this is the triangle. Okay, triangle ABC. Okay, here I am saying let this point is midpoint of BC, so this AQ is called the median. Okay, line segment joining the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite side is called median. Now, as there are three vertices, so a triangle has three medians. Okay, a triangle has three medians. Okay, and these three medians of a triangle are concurrent. That means they are passing through same point. And this point of intersection is called centroid, denoted as point G. So, line segment joining the vertex of the triangle and the midpoint of opposite side is called median. Now, in this I can say first thing, medians medians of a triangle medians of a triangle are concurrent. Medians of a triangle are concurrent. Point of concurrency point of concurrency of medians point of concurrency of medians, that means the point where the medians meet, point of concurrency of median called is called centroid is called centroid, denoted as G. denoted as point G. Okay. Now this G divides the median in the ratio 2 is to 1 from the vertex. G divides the median. G divides the median in the ratio 2 is to 1 from the vertex. From the vertex. That is, if this is Q, it means AG is to GQ is equal to 2 is to 1. Similarly, BG is to GZ is equal to 2 is to 1. CG is to GD again is equal to 2 is to 1. So that is about median. Median is a line segment joining the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite side. Medians of a triangle are concurrent. Point of concurrency is called the centroid. Centroid divide the median in the ratio 2 is to 1 from the median. So that is about median. Now next point we will see after median, next is altitudes. Altitude. So altitude is a line segment which is perpendicular to the opposite side drawn from the vertex. So line segment drawn from the vertex of a triangle. Line segment drawn from the vertex of a triangle perpendicular to the opposite side, perpendicular to the opposite side, perpendicular to the opposite side is called altitude. Is called altitude. Okay. Now a triangle has three vertex, so there are three altitudes. Now, where the altitude meets is called the orthocenter. Okay. Now, altitudes of a triangle are altitudes of a triangle are concurrent. Okay, that means suppose we have a triangle in this way. Okay, so this is the altitude, this is the altitude, and this is the altitude. Okay, ABC, and these are the altitudes. Okay, AQ, CZ, and BG. These are the altitudes. They meet at one point, and this point is called orthocenter, denoted by H. So altitudes of a triangle are concurrent. Point of concurrency of altitudes is called orthocenter. Is called orthocenter, denoted by capital H. Okay, now altitudes have, see, when we saw the centroid always lies inside the triangle. Now about altitude, if we have a about centroid, if there is an acute angle triangle, so in acute angle triangle orthocenter lies inside the triangle. In a right angle triangle, altitude is the vertex of right angle. And in an obtuse angle triangle, altitude lies, sorry, orthocenter lies outside the triangle. So in acute triangle, in acute triangle, H lies inside the triangle. In right triangle, in right triangle, H lies on the vertex of right angle, on the vertex of 90 degrees, or vertex of right angle, the vertex of right angle. And in obtuse triangle, and in obtuse triangle, H lies outside the triangle. Okay, in acute triangle, H lies inside the triangle. In right angle, H lies on the vertex of the right angle, and in obtuse angle, it will lie outside the triangle. Okay, after altitudes, next we will see that was the orthocenter. Now next is incenter and the circumcenter. Okay, so next we will see incenter. Next point is incenter. Okay, so incenter is the point of intersection of the angle bisectors of a triangle. Okay, incenter is the point of intersection of point of intersection of point of intersection of angle bisectors of a triangle. Point of intersection of angle bisector of a triangle, or point of concurrency of angle bisectors of a triangle. For example, suppose this is the triangle ABC. Now angle bisector, I hope you understand, a line segment or a line or a ray which divides the angle into two parts of equal measurement. Okay, so let AD bisects angle BAC, BQ bisects angle ABC, and this B sorry CZ bisects angle ACQ. That means these two angles are equal, these two are equal, and these two are equal. Okay, then this point is called the incenter, denoted by capital I. Point of intersection of angle bisector of a triangle is called incenter, denoted by I, denoted by capital I. Now this I always lies inside the triangle. So here incenter always lies inside the triangle. Okay, incenter always lie inside the triangle. Now next point is circumcenter. Circumcenter. Next point is circumcenter. So circumcenter is the point of intersection of, circumcenter is point of intersection of perpendicular bisectors, perpendicular bisectors of sides of a triangle. Okay, point of intersection of perpendicular bisectors of sides of triangle are called, is called circumcenter. Okay, generally circumcenter is denoted by capital O. Okay, something like this. Suppose we have a triangle. Now let the triangle is ABC. Now its perpendicular bisector and a perpendicular bisector. Wherever they meet is called the circumcenter. Now circumcenter also we can say, see, in the previous point we saw in center, isn't it? It was in center. That was the point of the intersection of the angle bisector. Now this is also called in center. There is one more reason. If we draw a circle in this way, that means a circle which passes through the side and which touches the sides of the triangle, then this point is called in center, because this is the center of the circle which is touching all three sides of the triangle. Similarly, this is called circumference because if you draw a circle in this way, then this will be the center of that circle. Now this is denoted by capital O. Now capital O lies in acute angle inside, in obtuse angle outside, and in a right angle it lies on the midpoint of the hypotenuse. Okay, circumcenter in acute, okay, O lies, better to write this, in acute triangle, in acute triangle, in acute triangle, O lies inside the triangle, inside the triangle. In right triangle, in right triangle, O lies on the midpoint, on the midpoint of the hypotenuse, on the midpoint of the, on the midpoint of hypotenuse. Okay, and in, and in obtuse triangle, in obtuse triangle, O lies outside the triangle. Okay, so that is all about the points about the in-center, circumcenter, orthocenter and centroid. Okay, now we'll see one or two notes related to these points. So first, in an equilateral triangle or in an isosceles triangle, in an isosceles triangle, okay, better write in an equilateral triangle, in an equilateral triangle, okay, centroid, then orthocenter, then in center, then circumcenter. That is G, H, I and O lie on a same point, lie on the same point, lie on the same point. That means, in other words, I can say they all coincide. Although in an isosceles triangle, in an isosceles triangle, G, H, I and O lie on the same line. That means we can say they are collinear. Collinear means points which are on the same line. So G, H, I and O are lie on the same line in an isosceles triangle, and in an equilateral triangle they are on the same point. That means that points, these 4 points are coincide. Okay, so that is all about points. Now we'll see the congruency criteria in short, and after that we'll see the inequalities. Okay, so next is the congruency criteria. So Congruency means two figures which coincide each other exactly, or we can say two figures which are two plane figures which are equal in all manner. That means they must be equal in shape as well as if they must be equal in size. Then we'll say the figures are congruent. Okay. Now over here, um, congruent figures. So here actually we have to work on congruency of triangles. So two figures are two triangles are said to be congruent if all their parts corresponding parts are equal. In short, we can say. Okay. Or we can say all their three sides, corresponding sides are equal as well as their corresponding angles are equal. So now there are some congruency criteria. Let us see them one by one. The first one is side angle side axiom. This is actually an axiom. This says if in two triangles, two sides and okay, uh, if two sides and and included angle and included angle two sides and the included angle of one triangle of one triangle are equal to the corresponding okay in if two sides and included angle of one triangle are equal to the two sides corresponding two sides and included angle of okay if two sides and included angle of one triangle are equal to the corresponding two sides and included angle of another triangle, then triangles said to be congruent. Triangles then two triangles said to be congruent. Okay, that means if we say this figure, so if AB equal to PQ, AC equal to PR, and angle A is equal to angle P, then we'll say the triangles are congruent. Then we'll say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. Okay, so that is side angle side axiom. Now next is side angle side angle theorem. Angle side angle theorem. So angle side angle theorem says if two angles okay angle side angle theorem says if two angles if two angles and the included side of one triangle are equal to the corresponding two angles and included side of another triangle, then triangle said to be congruent. That is the angle side angle theorem. That means suppose I have angle A is equal to angle P, angle B is equal to angle Q, and this PQ equal to AB, then we'll say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. Okay. Now next is side theorem, or we can say there is one more rule, that is angle side rule. Angle side theorem. However, I can say angle side theorem is a we can say it's a byproduct of angle side angle. See, in angle side angle theorem, two angles and the included side must be, but angle side says any two angles and non-included side are equal, still we'll say triangles are congruent. So next is angle side theorem. If two angles and non-included side of one triangle are equal to the corresponding two angles, and non-included side of another triangle, then triangles are said to be congruent. Okay, so here instead of AB equal to PQ, if I say I have this BC equal to QR, still I can say triangles are congruent. Any two angles and non-included side. Okay, okay, then the triangles are said to be congruent by angle, angle, side. Now next is side, side, side. That means if in two triangles all three sides, okay, if all three sides, if all three sides of one triangle are equal to the all three sides of another triangle, if all three sides of one triangle are equal to all three sides of, if all three sides of one triangle are equal to the corresponding three sides, okay, equal to the corresponding three sides of another triangle, then triangles are said to be, then triangles are said to be congruent by SSS. Congruent. Okay. For example, if I say in this triangle, this AB is equal to PQ. Okay. This AC equal to PR and BC equal to QR. Then we'll say triangles are congruent by side, side, side. Okay. Now last statement or last congruency criteria that remains is right angle hypotenuse side, RHS. Right angle hypotenuse side. Okay, that is the last criteria. RHS, name itself says right angle hypotenuse side. That means in two, if if in a if in a right triangle, if in a right triangle, if one if the hypotenuse and one side of a right triangle of a right triangle, if the hypotenuse and one side of a right triangle is equal to the hypotenuse, is equal to the hypotenuse and one side is equal to the hypotenuse and one side respectively of another right triangle, of another right triangle. Okay, if the hypotenuse and one side of right triangle is equal to the hypotenuse and one side respectively of another right triangle, then triangles are triangles said to be congruent. Then triangle said to be congruent. Okay, so uh, suppose we have a triangle ABC in this way, where B is 90 degree, hypotenuse is AC, and another triangle we have triangle PQR in this way. Okay, and this side are equal. Then we'll say triangles are congruent. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. Okay, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. Now we'll see two words over here. Okay, the first one is when the triangles are congruent, then their corresponding parts are also congruent. Okay, if two triangles are congruent, if two triangles are congruent, then their corresponding parts are also congruent or equal, or also congruent or equal. Now this complete statement is replaced by a word CPCT, which means corresponding corresponding parts of congruent triangles. Okay. Okay, whenever see, for example, here triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. That means here we have angle B is equal to Q and AC equal to PR and BC equal to QR. So we have information about three parts. As the triangles are congruent, definitely its remaining parts will be equal. For example, here A will be equal to P. This angle C will be equal to angle R. So when I write A equal to P, so at the reason I can say CPCT. As these two triangles are congruent, their corresponding parts will be equal. So that is the one thing. And another thing, that this AAA is not a congruency criteria. No doubt if I say AA or AAA, these two are the similarities criteria that we will see in class 10th. Okay, so AAA is not a congruency criteria. So that is all about the congruency criteria. In short, now we'll see inequality in the triangle. There are three theorems related to inequality. Inequality of the triangle. So first one is sum of sum of uh, or in a triangle in a triangle side opposite to greater angle greater angle is longer. Okay, in a triangle side opposite to greater angle is longer. This is the one theorem. Another is, okay, that means if we have a triangle ABC, if we have a triangle ABC and it is given that is AB is greater than AC, then side up. Okay, if we have angle B is greater than angle C, then side opposite to angle B is AC. That will be greater than side opposite to angle C. Side opposite to angle C is AB. Okay, so in a triangle, side opposite to greater angle is longer. Okay, this is the first theorem. Second theorem, in a triangle, angle opposite to angle opposite to in a triangle angle opposite to longer side is greater. Angle opposite to longer side is greater. That means suppose we have a triangle. Again, let me take the triangle. Okay, let the triangle be PQR. So what it says, angle opposite to longer side. That means if I say PQ is greater than PR, then angle opposite to PQ is angle R. It will be greater than angle opposite to PR, that is angle Q. Okay, so angle opposite to longer side is greater, and here side opposite to greater angle is longer. Okay, so now next is one more theorem is left. in this chapter. That is, if we have a triangle ABC. Okay, so now according to this theorem, third theorem, sum of two sides sum of two sides of a triangle sum of two sides of a triangle is greater than its third side its third side. That is, I can say over here AB plus BC is greater than AC, or AC plus BC is greater than AB, or AC plus AB is greater than BC. Sum of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the third side. Okay, this gives you also one result, that is difference of two sides difference difference of two sides is less than the the third side. Okay, difference of two sides is less than the third side. Okay, that means I can say AB minus BC is less than AC. AC minus BC is less than AB, and AC minus AB is less than BC. These three results we can write. So okay, so this is all about lines and angles and the triangles. Now in next lecture we will start quadrilaterals. Till then, bye. Thank you. Take care. Stay at